Hello, and welcome to Smash Fiction, the podcast where we pit two or more characters against one another in a battle of strength, or wits, or computer wizardry that defies my unspeakably limited understanding of technology, and see who would win. This week, Sombra versus Hiro Protagonist. The year is 20... and a grim cyberpunk dystopia shrouds the land in darkness and an impractical amount of black leather accessories. Rising up from this aesthetically cool nightmare is a towering office building made of only the shiniest future metals. The acid green neon sign across the middle reads Aneki Corp. The Aneki Corp headquarters house some of the research and design for the most cutting-edge AIs, digital sapience, e-telligences, and I-constructs on the market. Yeah, marketing is still really trying to workshop this stuff out. Aneki is quick to assure everyone that these autonomous no-bots are definitely not malevolent or even morally gray. That would be irresponsible. And if you can't trust a corporation to be responsible, well... what can you trust?
Literally everything.
But just in case these completely trustworthy and safe AIs turn a bit vengeful, Aneki has gotten their hands on a program, a virus, that will eviscerate any malevolent programming it comes across, leaving only the crumbs of ones and zeros in its wake. Bing! You have one message from hacker named Abstract God Trash.
Nice.
Hiro Protagonist pushes his goggles down and grabs the message, flicking it open. Aneki's going to be relocating the virus in the next week. Sombra said she's going after it for omnic reasons and wiping the original. Just thought you should know, XXX AGT. Hiro replies with a facepalm emoji and grabs his coat and sword. He's not letting Sombra erase the program that could be used to further limit the Ashera metavirus, a linguistic virus spreading through humanity. Don't worry, Rife. I'm not done kicking your ass just yet, he mutters as he gets onto his motorcycle and heads downtown. Boop! Message from hacker named Abstract God Trash. Received 4/18. Hiro Protagonist is going after Aneki's virus in the next week before they relocate it. Something about Ashera? He's wiping the original. Thought you'd want to know. XXX AGT. Sombra clicks her nails together thoughtfully. She didn't want to be rushed into this, but she's damn sure not letting a conspiracy theorist ruin her best shot at blackmailing the Omnics. She shoots back a message to Abstract God Trash. He'll find out what happens when you mess with the best, followed by 3 pink skull emojis. Aneki headquarters glimmers in the sickly neon light, waiting for the hacker fighter who can infiltrate the building, take advantage of the numerous security stations and computer terminals, and defeat any human or robotic guards along the way. Once inside, the hackers will cross paths and have to fight it out. Abstract God Trash sets the camera feeds in the building to download and sort incoming footage. Something to watch later after finishing this marathon of murder she wrote. So, it's obviously what you watch when you're a hacker. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, when you're a murder hacker, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. It's like Angela Lansbury. Great.
Yeah, that's right.
Who will win this battle of battle hackers? I was too busy trying to level up in Gardenscapes this week to find out. So I, Megan Bob, will be your level 1,391 judge this week. Representing Hiro Protagonist from Snow Crash are Miles Schneiderman.
Guys, if we could just try to make sure we do things pretty quickly tonight, we have to wrap this up in about 54 minutes or the podcast mafia is going to kill me.
And Dan Mulcairn.
Until a man is 25, he still thinks, every so often, that under the right circumstances, he could be the best bullshitter in the world. Kit and Claire used to feel this way too, but then they ran into Dan and Miles. In a way, this was liberating. They no longer have to worry about being the best bullshitter in the world. The position is taken.
Joke's on you, we're not men.
Representing Sombra are Kit Mulcairn.
¿Me extrañaste? You know, I ditched the league to come here. You should all feel very honored.
Oh, yay! And Claire Mulcairn.
Looks like I have time to do some research. Oh, wait, we're recording now?
In order to determine who went first, I asked both teams to participate in some Internet of Things nonsense and try to convince various household appliances to communicate with the internet. Claire and Kit tied some tin cans and string together and left them near the fridge and the router. I definitely heard some chatter, but it could have been the ice maker. Dan and Miles tried their romantic approach and lit a bunch of candles and put on some mood music. Long story short, my laptop doesn't want to work if it's more than 10 feet from the TV. The dryer is pregnant, and we think that the toaster is the father. So Dan and Miles are going first, followed by Kit and Claire.
You're
obviously
welcome.
the toaster would be the father.
I wasn't trying to start a thing with my last judge's intro with me and Dan, but apparently, you know.
Well, yeah, you guys are the advocates of romance, but in this case, just for stuff what lives around my house.
I really need to know what the babies look like.
Those could get your blanket so warm.
Yeah, too warm.
And then on
Unsafely
fire.
warm. It's too cold to make toast and too warm to dry clothes.
Is it like putting your clothes in the toaster, or is it like putting your bread in the dryer?
This is really driving home the point that everything is toast, is really what this
Oh
is.
my
Oh
God.
no, you're right.
Why?
Damn you, Raphael!
Why?
Team Hiro, let's find out if you deliver arguments as perfectly as you deliver pizzas.
Let's start with the obvious. Hiro Protagonist. The greatest sword fighter in the world. We all knew it was going to come up. It's on his fucking business cards. So let's talk about Hiro as a sword fighter, because if this match at any point becomes a straight up fight between these two characters, Sombra has no chance. Armed with a matching pair of samurai swords and the training to masterfully wield them, Hiro spends pretty much the entirety of Snow Crash slicing off limbs, cutting off heads, and generally being the baddest motherfucker in the vicinity. By baddest, I mean that he is the human equivalent of that feeling you get when somebody in an online game kills you without even breaking a sweat, and then after you die you see their name at the very top of the high score list, and you realize that your death, the act of killing you, didn't really register with that person. They barely even noticed it, because to them, you're just another +1 in a kill count that could long since have been described as towering. And by human equivalent, in this case, I mean just equivalent, because that's exactly how the avatar of some poor schmuck in the metaverse goes out. Now, the metaverse is different than the real world, of course, but one imagines that people who go up against Hiro in the real world generally feel the same way, because it's not like he's any less badass in the flesh. Hiro trains at an elite level and is equally capable of dismembering the actual bodies of his opponents as he is their digital incarnations. The story's primary villain or a boatload of his flunkies, one at a time or all together, it does not matter. Hiro faces down large groups of gunmen and eats them for breakfast, and he is a nightmare in single combat, which might explain why he never loses a fight. Ever. He has yet to be knocked out of first place on that high score list, no matter what version of reality he's in, and it's not going to happen tonight. It's not just the fighting either. Hiro Protagonist is exactly what it says on the tin, a genuine action hero. His driving skills are what would happen if The Transporter was a movie about pizza delivery. He was in your base, killing your dudes a full decade before anyone ever said that, spending most of Snow Crash's final act jumping boats and blowing shit up. By the end of the book, the author doesn't even need to bother showing us Hiro kick-ass. After he makes his way onto the Enterprise where a bunch of goons awaits him, he draws his katana to end the chapter, and we cut back to a new chapter with YT. Next time we see Hiro, he's stalking through a curtain of smoke with his blade covered in blood because he just finished turning all those Enterprise minions into red shirts. We know it happened that way because by this time, we know that's just Hiro Protagonist. Of course, it helps that Hiro's fancy high-tech goggles can see in infrared, as well as straight-up seeing through things, providing him information on his surroundings and enhancing his auditory senses. That helps when you're on a Shadowrun. What helps even more, though, is being both extremely good at hacking and extremely good at planning. Hiro is a smart dude. He figures out the entire mystery of Snow Crash, which, as a reminder, involves weaponizing the Sumerian language by himself. By himself to such an extent that 2 full chapters of the book are devoted to him explaining it to everyone else. And in addition to being the greatest sword fighter in the world, he's also known as the last freelance hacker, making his living in finding and selling information. In the most singularly demonstrative moment in Snow Crash, Hiro takes a few hours while hanging out on a life raft to design the Deus Ex Machina plot device that will ultimately resolve the entire narrative. He does this, mind you, while being careful to avoid the annoying piece of programming running around in there that will kill him if he so much as looks at it. No biggie. When the time comes, Hiro's plan works to perfection, and the explosion that would have killed every hacker in the metaverse instead becomes a gigantic naked advertisement for Hiro's security programming services, because that's not God in the machine, it's just Hiro Protagonist. To be clear on that last point, Hiro isn't just a hacker. He's a programmer. And again, a masterful one, a celebrity in the metaverse, because he's one of the people who created it. Sombra can hack a system using her tech and her skills, but Hiro understands the hack. He knows how it was designed, which systems are present where and do what to which other systems. He can read that software like a book that he wrote, because that's basically what it is to him. And not only did he spend years programming a whole virtual universe, he spent other years on the wrong side of the law, learning how to apply his skills in the noble art of busting security. What makes Hiro an amazing security programmer action star isn't the fact that he has the best equipment. It's the fact that he has an astounding amount of experience in every aspect of what he does. And also because he's just Hiro Protagonist.
Some heroes are like the PlayStation 2. Solidly built, reliable, able to handle a lot of different challenges and produce some pretty incredible results. But some heroes are like the Sega 32X, too concerned with flashiness over substance, unable to fully utilize the technology available to them, and doomed for a huge crash and embarrassing defeat. And no, I'm not certain if there is anyone on the planet that will find that joke funny, but we're not here to make jokes. Nope. We're here to deliver truth. And the truth is, the Atari Jaguar, known as Sombra, is horrendously outclassed here. She might have abilities which seem more impressive than Hiro's, but once you really look at the way they work, it becomes clear that they just won't be enough to carry her to the finish line before her opponent. Let's start with hacking, her most basic and most iconic power. While the broader Overwatch stories show that her hacking is capable of more than just shutting down enemy powers temporarily, in the game itself, this ability requires several seconds to cool down between each use. In addition, anytime she uses it, there are several very obvious glowing pink lines that extend from her to the target, meaning that anyone nearby, or the target itself, can very easily see exactly where she is, which kind of puts a major damper on her ability to do this mission stealthily. Furthermore, while she can hack some objects at a distance, more complex systems require a direct interface. We see this in the short movie Infiltration, where she temporarily takes over simple bits of industrial machinery, but when she wants to shut down turrets and open doors, she needs to interact directly with the actual console. And from the looks of things, she has to decloak in order to do so. Either way you slice it, her hacking power gives her only the slightest of advantages, and may actually do her more harm than good if she uses it at the wrong time and gives away her position. Speaking of giving away her position, she can only cloak for up to 6 seconds at a time, and any offensive maneuver she performs or any damage she takes cause her to drop her invisibility. On top of that, this stealth is not perfect. She can be revealed by tech like Hanzo's Sonic Arrow and Widowmaker's Infrasight. Guess what? Hiro can see into multiple spectra of light, including infrared, and he doesn't have to charge up for half the fight to do so either like Widowmaker does. Additionally, attacks like Winston's Tesla Cannon and Symmetra's hard light weapons can lock onto and home in on Sombra even while she's cloaked. What this means is, if our mutual target installed infrared sensors or employs homing weaponry, Sombra might as well be marching around in day-glow pink and blue. I mean, more so. Sombra is one of those characters that really only functions well when she's with a group, often a fairly large group. In Overwatch itself, she's always working with 4 other people, and even in the side stories, she never goes into something totally solo. A lot of this is probably a function of how she plays in the game. She doesn't really have the mobility or health to do direct confrontation, so it's up to her allies to really dictate the direction of a match before she can come in and start mopping up. And even then, only when she's placed a translocator beacon on top of a health pack for when things inevitably turn against her seconds into any given fight. And God help her if she actually runs into Hiro. Not only is she awful at taking on extremely capable melee combatants like Genji or Winston, Hiro's likely to be able to counter any hacking she attempts on him. Remember, Sombra may spend time with mercenary types like Widowmaker or Reaper, but Hiro spends almost all of his free time hanging out and trading secrets with other hackers. His firewalls and antivirus tech is shown to be practically impenetrable. Literally no one else is able to out-hack him. But it's very likely that Sombra is going to be exceptionally vulnerable to Hiro. Hell, towering Russian muscle woman Zarya is able to catch her by surprise in the comic Searching by deploying a device that disables Sombra's tech. Hiro, who can get to the bottom of a massive millennia-spanning global conspiracy and develop a countermeasure for a virus designed to reprogram human brains while he floats on a life raft in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, can probably, in under a minute, develop something to completely shut down Sombra while simultaneously solving a Rubik's Cube in one hand and the New York Times Sunday crossword puzzle with the other. Nerf this, pobrecita.
No manches.
Oh, man. All right. Team Sombra, ¿qué tal?
I don't know what that means.
It means like, what's up?
It means what's up.
I mean, I could gather something like that from context clues, but anyway. Hiro thinks of himself as the greatest swordsman in the metaverse and the last of the freelance hackers, but time and again, we see that these braggadocious monikers that he has given himself are completely unearned. Hiro works for Cosa Nostra Pizza, the mafia-run pizza delivery chain that guarantees delivery in 30 minutes or your pizza is free and your driver is executed. Hiro, or as he thinks of himself during this time period, the deliverator, all right, dude, always makes his deliveries just fine because he is in normal, controlled circumstances. There is only one time when the deliverator's skills as a driver are really tested, when he is given a pizza with only 10 minutes left on its timer and a destination that is 12 miles away. The deliverator figures out that he can still make it if he takes a shortcut through a certain backyard on a certain suburban street, but when he reaches what he assumes to be that particular backyard, he expects to see a shed, but it isn't there. And he also sees a fence that he doesn't remember being there, but he just decides to drive through that backyard anyway, and then he totals his car by crashing into an empty swimming pool because he was panicking and cut through the wrong backyard. And he ignored two huge pieces of evidence that should have alerted him to this. The only reason that the Mafia doesn't kill him is that YT, a nearby teenager on a skateboard, offers to finish his delivery for him. Later, Hiro has to break YT out of captivity from a holding cell in a small privatized jailhouse. He gets her out of the cell just fine, but when they are making their escape, they exit through the front of the building to find the parking lot crowded with people who all try to stop them because Hiro entered from the rear and didn't think to scout out the front before trying to execute a freaking jailbreak. Let me say that one more time. He tried to execute a jailbreak without knowing his escape route, despite having plenty of time and resources to do so if he had the inclination. The reason that Hiro escapes this time is because YT saves him again by stealing a nearby taxicab and picking him up. Another recurring example of Hiro's carelessness during dangerous situations happens many times throughout the book when Hiro ends up in a sword fight. In the style that Hiro practices, you never try to cut people in half, rather you simply whack them with your blade as a way of delivering force into their body, trying to crack bones and whatnot. This means that you need to stop at the point of impact or else you risk getting your blade stuck inside your target. However, there are numerous times throughout the book when Hiro almost loses his sword because he admits to himself that he has forgotten to do this. Here's one such example from late in the book. Quote, his katana comes free easily, which is dumb luck, because he forgot to squeeze the blow off. Could have gotten it wedged in there. I think that the reason for this is pretty clear. Hiro practices sword fighting as a hobby. He gets into virtual samurai duels in the metaverse not because he needs to, but because it's fun. When he actually has to fight someone in the real world with a real sword, fear kicks in and he finds himself in circumstances that he's simply not prepared for. Perhaps Hiro's crowning moment of badassery, which I'm sure that our competition is going to mention, which actually you didn't, but anyway, it's when he's able to use his sword to deflect a bamboo spear that's thrown at him. But based on how Hiro thinks back on that moment later on, we can see that this could have very easily been dumb luck on his part again. And this was by no means something that he would be capable of replicating consistently. Quote, he knows he was totally unprepared. The spear just came at him. He slapped it with the blade. He happened to slap it at the right time and it missed him. But he did this almost absent-mindedly. Perhaps that's how great warriors do it. Carelessly, not racking their minds about the consequences. Maybe he's flattering himself. Even if Hiro was a great hacker within his own world, that wouldn't even be all that impressive, because the level of technology that's present within Snow Crash is pretty laughable by today's standards. Based on the few time clues we get throughout the novel, you can calculate that Snow Crash takes place between 2009 and 2016. And in terms of the level of technology that it predicts, it's actually pretty conservative. It's about the same level of technology that we have today. A little less advanced in some areas, a little more advanced in others. VR technology is a little better, and Second Life ended up being more popular than the World Wide Web, but streaming speeds are actually way worse. Hiro can't even stream video when accessing the internet through a wireless connection. Anything involving video or 3D rendering requires a fiber optic hardline. Compare that to Overwatch's predictions. Well, Overwatch is set in the late 2070s, over 50 years further ahead into the cyberpunk future than Snow Crash, when we have stuff like teleportation and hard light constructs and talking monkeys. Kit would like me to clarify here that she knows that Winston is not a monkey, but talking monkeys.
Also, we got talking monkeys now, Claire. They run the government.
Hot monkey takes.
Topical. So clearly, Sombra's tech is way more advanced than Hiro's, but what specifically is that going to mean during this match? Well, Hiro simply doesn't have the ability to wirelessly connect with nearby technology in the way that Sombra does. He has his gargoyle rig, which allows him to access the metaverse through his goggles at basically dial-up speeds, but that comes in the form of a heavy hunk of metal the size of a championship belt that's going to severely limit his mobility. And if he wants to try to mess with any of the facility's defenses, he's going to have to find an actual computer terminal with a keyboard and actually go through the process of hacking in, which will at the very least take a few minutes. Sombra, on the other hand, can completely dominate any piece of technology that she comes across in less than a second from up to 50 feet away simply by twiddling her fingers. Throughout the action scenes in Sombra's animated short Infiltration, she breezes through countless security measures and firefights with a smile on her face, never really being challenged by anything she encounters. Clearly for her, this sort of superheroic action is just another day in the office. But before the start of Snow Crash, Hiro has been in relatively few life or death situations, and throughout the book, when he finds himself in these circumstances for the first time, he doesn't really do that well and often ends up surviving through dumb luck or through getting saved by someone else. Time and again, when a new threat challenges Hiro, he fails to rise to the challenge, and Hiro has never conceived of a threat like Sombra.
But who is Sombra? Before the
Yes.
I take it, Miles.
Miles, we're trying to be mysterious.
Okay.
Before the alias, she was a little girl orphaned by a war who pulled herself up by her little pink bootstraps and turned her passion for hacking into a way of life. She was only an elementary school-aged child when she began manipulating those in power, hacking into their systems with her homemade cybernetic glove and selling the spoils. Now she's 30 and works for a shadowy terrorist organization, but secretly sabotages their missions if she has something bigger to gain. She's mounted massive cyber attacks on governments and corporations, including Volskaya Industries, known for having the most advanced security system on the planet, with laughably little effort, and has them wrapped around her finger. In the gameplay of Overwatch, Sombra is an offense character, which are characters designed to be highly mobile infiltrators. Fuck you, Dan. Mobile. Flankers and disruptors. But you know what? It's okay, because you wouldn't know because you don't play the game. But that's fine. That's fine. Who deal tons of damage in a very short amount of time. Certainly not someone you want to find out has snuck behind you and is now pointing her fully automatic machine pistol at the back of your head. The back of your unhelmeted head. Her thermoptic camouflage renders her completely invisible in under a second and increases her running speed to just over 30 feet per second. That's Olympic sprinter speeds, and all without making a sound. Guards just will not see her coming. They never do. By the way, I heard Hiro can only hack from terminals? That's cute. Meanwhile, on the competent side of the internet, all it takes for Sombra to hack her problems away is a gesture of her hand that takes literally less than a second. So pink tendrils be damned, you ain't gonna do shit about it. This removes all special abilities from her opponents, including shields and barriers, and turns any machine into a worthless pile not unlike Rick Deckard.
Oh my god! From the ashes, you bring it back just to burn him again.
You mean Rick Deckard, Victoria's Smash Fiction character?
Rick Deckard, Dan Bamboozler.
Noted Dan Bamboozler.
So, Kit, do you admit he's good at something? Do you?
Guys, please.
I admit you're good at something, Miles.
Oh, thank you.
Guys, it's clearly Dan Boozler. Let's move on.
That's true.
I was waiting for somebody to say that. I'm glad you did.
Once charged, her EMP can instantly hack everything within a 50-foot radius of herself, which can leave a massive area full of people, turrets, and various other tech neutered and confused. Now, Sombra's confident, but she's a realist. She knows a plan might not always go the way it's planned, so she's got a fancy way to escape situations gone awry. One of her voice lines is, always leave yourself a back door, and practices what she preaches. She carries a limitless number of translocator beacons, which are small devices that allow her to instantly teleport back to wherever they're placed. Though a defensive ability at first glance, skilled players of Overwatch know the translocators are also useful repositioning tools in the heat of combat. Sombra can throw a translocator over an attacker, teleport behind them, and deal massive amounts of damage in the seconds it takes them to relocate her position. Finally, Sombra's passive ability, Opportunist, allows her to detect critically injured people through walls. If Hiro becomes damaged during whatever stupid sword motorcycle stunt through armed guards he's trying to pull off, Sombra will be able to follow his movements, no effort. Seriously though, Hiro, stop trying to be Dante. Motorcycle, swords, and pizza.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
He's the proto-Dante.
Oh, man.
Well, in fairness, Dante Alighieri was the proto-Dante. But, you know.
I mean...
Oh my god. Hashtag nerds.
Outside the game itself, we see that in her 2 animated videos, Sombra is quick-thinking and incredibly precise, able to fluidly incorporate her camouflage and translocator beacons into melee takedowns of multiple guards at once. She's incredibly athletic, able to keep up with the fleeing target by way of nimble parkour skills and on-the-go hacking of the tech around her. At one point, a mech destroys the catwalk she's running across, and as she is falling, she hacks another nearby mech to catch and lift her back up to exactly where she needs to be. When she takes out the last 2 guards, and keep in mind, I had to slow the video down to a quarter of the speed to see what actually happened here. She reappears from stealth right next to the guards. Guard number 1 turns toward her and begins firing. Sombra stops the barrel of the gun with her hand, causing it to point and fire at guard number 2, so that fool dead. She then judo flips guard number 1 off his feet while simultaneously acquiring his gun and shoots him dead before he even hits the ground. So there's your action movie star right there. Well, I guess more of a spy movie, right? Sombra is a master of hacking and cryptography, in part because using these skills to solve mysteries and acquiring power through knowledge is something she actively enjoys doing. While Sombra's digging up secrets and blackmail for funsies on the reg, Hiro is off in Second Life playing with swords. While Hiro was trying to be Vin Diesel in Too Fast, Two Dominoes, every occupation Sombra's ever had since childhood has been hacking, espionage, and manipulation. Sombra is living the phrase, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Just saying. One of these competitors lives and breathes the setup for this match, and they ain't a hero.
Oh, very beautiful, everybody. Good work. With those opening hacks and slashes, interspersed with kicks and punches, we come to rebuttals. Rebuttals, where reasoning goes to die. All right, Team Hiro. I've heard that when you are wrestling for possession of a sword, the man with the handle always wins. Let the other team have the pointy end.
Stick them with it, if you will.
Yes, I couldn't remember the phrase, and then I decided not to look it up because fuck that.
So I want to just point out, Claire, you made a point of going into several examples of times when Hiro makes imperfect decisions, or where, you know, he has a brief moment of either distraction or poor judgment and how that gets him into trouble. But, like, really what that illustrates is that he's competent the vast majority of the time and occasionally makes mistakes, much like Sombra does. I mean, in that comic Searching, there's that moment where Zarya is able to track her down because Sombra decided to hide in the town she grew up in and was walking around with her extremely noticeable appearance and didn't think that someone might actually recognize her and be able to identify her if someone came looking for her.
Teacher, I have a response to that one. So I knew you were going to bring up that comic. In the comic, Zarya finally, she's like, goes door to door asking literally everybody in this town about Sombra. Nobody tells her anything except this one little girl that does. And the thing is, the comic does not reveal how she knows Sombra, why she feels the need to tell Zarya that. That's like a mystery Overwatch still has. So that's how Sombra's position is given away. And then you also, Dan, you brought up that like scene where Zarya gets Sombra pinned down. Look, Sombra didn't try and stealth attack Zarya. She was just like, oh, hey, it's you. She introduced herself non-threateningly because she knew she had more than enough collateral on Zarya to get away even if things didn't go down properly. She had all that blackmail on Zarya's boss. She had Zarya's buddy hacked, and the factory was about to blow up. So she had like 3 things in her back pocket. She knew she was going to be fine.
The problem, though, is that Claire's argument attempts to paint Hiro as, like, some sort of bumbling buffoon, as opposed to the person who runs through the book literally fucking killing pretty much everybody who crosses him. First of all, I debate the whole thing with, like, the exit strategy, because he could have easily taken all those guys, and they all fucking knew it, like they were terrified of him. But there's just innumerable other instances in the book of Hiro being an expert swordsman and just fucking killing killing people, not just in the metaverse, even more so in the real world. All the action hero shit on the boats happens in the real world.
There's a lot of other examples of him messing up too that I just didn't have time to get to, including parts on the raft. Like when he's infiltrating on the boat, and you say he's always by himself. When he's infiltrating on the boat, remember he has Fisheye and Vic and Elliot with him.
They
and
are
everybody
useless.
gets a job to do, and Hiro fails his job, which is to repel boarders. There are many times when boarders successfully get on and Hiro's not able to get them. And yeah,
that's not the point. What I'm saying is that when he fights, he wins. The whole thing you had about the spear being flicked away and how like that was, he relies on luck. You know what? The stuff you said, the stuff that he thinks to himself about like, maybe that's how experts do it. They just react instinctively. That is how they do it. And that's how he fights, and that's how he hacks. He does both of them so expertly because he doesn't have to waste time thinking about them. I question whether or not any of the dumb luck shit is actually real because, he lucks his way out of situations despite the fact that he's incredibly competent at combat.
The other thing is that, you pointed to that bamboo spear moment as his crowning moment of badass in the book, which, first of all, he didn't even see that spear. He just sort of like sensed it was coming and was able to parry it, which in my mind...
The book explicitly says, sorry, Dan, not to interrupt you, but the book explicitly says there was no time for him to get into the proper stance. He got into the proper stance.
Yeah, and so what that says to me is that he's very good at taking on threats that he can't explicitly see, like Sombra. But even that isn't his most crowning moment of badassery, in my opinion. For me, it's that moment that Miles mentioned in his opening arguments, where he fights his way from one end of an aircraft carrier to another through well-armed zealots, and the book considers his success such a foregone conclusion that it doesn't even warrant a scene. He just shows up on the deck with his bloody sword and apparently with not a scratch on him.
I ain't gonna front like both of our characters aren't badasses. What I think we're just trying to get home here is that one of them bumbles more than the other, or at all.
There just aren't those kinds of as many flaws like that on Sombra's record. And we can all take out giant rooms of goons. Like, I mean, when you play like versus Overwatch, everybody's kind of superheroes, but you can play some PvE game modes, like the most recent Retribution one, where you fight giant rooms full of goons and you cut your way through like 50 people, and any of the Overwatch characters are capable of doing that very easily.
We can take out you.
You were talking about how Sombra has the ability to see people even through walls when they are weak. Hiro's tech rig expands his senses out almost infinitely. Like, he has infrared, he has radar, he has ambient sound processing. The radar picks out weapons and will actually identify them by make, model, and ammo, regardless of whether they're drawn or hidden. He can see people through walls, and they don't need to be weak for him to do so. He can also call up maps of the area thanks to his connection to the librarian, which is this like extremely advanced AI research program that he has on him at all times. His ability to gather information is so much greater than Sombra's.
Yeah, except Sombra can teleport a gun into her hand that wasn't there before, as we see in one of the
in the infiltration
like,
video.
yeah, her tech is just so advanced that he can't even conceive of it.
Also, her tech can hack all of your tech in literally less than a second.
Yeah, can bleep, bleep, bleep. Oh, guess what? Hey, now no more librarian.
Team Sombra, everything can be hacked. So hack your way through the other team's arguments.
Quick point, just to dismiss something Dan said. He made it sound like if she hacks at the wrong moment, she'll give her position away. She doesn't hack at the wrong moment. That's the thing. We've never seen her fuck herself over by hacking at the wrong moment. She always makes sure she's out of line of sight. She's always got her backdoor translocator ready. I cannot stress enough that Sombra does not charge headlong into things the way Hiro does. She is a planner, a backup planner, and a backup planner.
I mean, that's all fine in theory, but like, the thing is, all of that flashy tech that she has is really more flash than substance. Like, the hacking that we see her do only lasts for a couple of seconds when she uses it on advanced tech. And anything else that she wants to do with it, like in that infiltration short, the only things we see her do the long distance hack on are very simple things like that cargo elevator and like the giant construction hand.
That's not a construction hand. That's one of Russia's like major mechs.
In my mind, it looked like it was coming down from the ceiling. And so I figured it was something that they were using for construction. But like either way, we see that when she's trying to hack into the doors and the cameras and the sentry turrets, she has to decloak and go to a physical console. Like, we don't see her long distance hack it.
We don't know that she has to do that. We just know that she does in that one scene because, like, you imagine imagine she can probably access all of the facility at once, as opposed to just doing stuff from 50 feet away when she's at the terminal. I'll like give you that, but that's still better than Hiro. Like when she's at a terminal, she can access the whole facility at once and manage the whole facility at once.
There's also no question that she can get through this facility so much faster than Hiro can. She can get to the prize so much faster because she's got her speed boost, she's got her teleporters, and she's got the invisibility to get past enemies.
Yeah.
Hiro crawls through a hole that's 6 inches wide at one point. I just want to point that out.
When he's in the metaverse, shut up.
No, in the real world.
What?
It doesn't make sense to me either, and I went back over the chapter numerous times to try and figure it out, but there's no connective tissue there.
Are you saying that Hiro has Ant-Man technology?
Either that or Mr. Fantastic, dude. You talk about fucking Sombra being a planner, like, Hiro is also a planner too. Just because he does action shit, that dude plans meticulously. Like I said, before he even goes to do anything in Snow Crash, he gets all his information from the librarian, he thinks everything through, and to be clear, this is when Hiro is in his element, back doing hacky fucking spy action hero shit, as opposed to the part of the beginning of the book, which you talked about a lot, Claire, when he's at his lowest, which is when he's doing a pizza delivery job.
The thing is that, like, Sombra's ability to move invisibly and quickly and to use translocators, if she's relying on that to get through this facility, she's only going to be able to move in fits and starts, because remember, she can only have one translocator beacon at a time. She can only cloak for a few seconds before she has to let it recharge, whereas Hiro is not limited by that sort of thing. Like, Sombra is going to have to be careful she doesn't show up in a room full of enemies, whereas Hiro has his
she'll be as
jacket.
powerful as Hiro is.
Yeah, like, she doesn't run into a room full of enemies by accident. That's what Hiro does.
Yeah.
Right, Hiro can take down a room full of enemies in seconds.
Yeah, he does not have to worry about them. Sombra categorically does.
Great. So while you're spending seconds fighting a room full of heroes,
you're waiting for your cloak to
she's
cool
shooting people, and then 3 seconds later
yeah.
she teleports out, whereas Hiro stabs one person, and then 3 seconds later he's still in the room and still surrounded. And he does get injured. He gets shot, and his supposedly bulletproof armor doesn't stop it. It breaks his ribs when he gets shot at one point in it.
Dude, when he's crawling through the hull of the Enterprise, he is being burned and, like, seriously injured, and he does not give a shit. That dude doesn't feel pain when he didn't want to.
Are you gonna feel a headshot from a fully automatic pistol?
Not from you, because you're not going to get it off.
Yeah, not from you. You don't have that kind of aim with a semi-automatic pistol.
It's a fully, but yes. Get it right. I feel like you guys are really not understanding that a good Sombra player does not let the cooldown time, is that the word?
Yeah, you plan around them, and they're really short. Yeah. They're like a few seconds. They're really
just a few seconds. Because, like, you don't use your translocator, you don't make sure your cooldown time for your translocator is not happening at the same time as your super camo speed.
I mean, that only lasts until the point when you get into a situation that you couldn't plan for. When you're like, oh man, I wish I could use my translocator, but it's recharging.
Also, we should keep in mind that when Hiro is, like, on his way over to the building to do this job, he is talking to the librarian and learning everything there is to know about Sombra.
One of Sombra's lines when you're preparing for a mission, as I said, a quote at the beginning, looks like I have time to do some research. So we know she also does research about people before she goes in. When she goes in to meet Miss Volskaya, she has a ton of blackmail on her. You think she's not also going to have a ton of information on Hiro before she goes in to fight him?
But information on Hiro doesn't help you as much, because fighting Hiro is just like fighting somebody who's really, really experienced and really good at what he does. Fighting Sombra, doing research and planning helps you a lot more, because you can learn about her tech and her tactics.
What you'll learn from researching Hiro is that he likes to use the sword and he doesn't wear a helmet, so you can stay far away from him and shoot him in the head.
Look, man, you guys don't want to get into a research fight with us. Sombra discovered the conspiracy and immediately had to change her name. She went to Talon for help. She still hasn't gotten to the bottom of this. Hiro got to the bottom of a conspiracy that spanned the history of the human race and developed a counteragent for a virus designed to target human biology in, like, a few
Lagos
days.
put together so much of that. He just inherited all of Lagos' research. And, like, you say, like, the end of the book is Hiro explaining it to everybody. The middle of the book is the librarian explaining everything to Hiro.
That is categorically not true. I don't know how you can read the book and say that, Claire. I'm sorry.
All that the librarian had was information. It was Hiro who had to figure out what information was relevant, and he who had to put things together. The librarian says over and over again, he's not capable of creative thinking. That's what Hiro was there to do, and that's where he excels more than anything else. And a lot of that research, by the way, he was doing while on the California highway on a motorcycle going 140 miles an hour. He was also solving the mystery of the human race at that time. He wasn't, like, sitting in some room surrounded by screens.
Is everyone had enough?
I think we're ready to move on.
I've had
Okay, I
enough
just
of,
wanna
I've had enough of
check,
Team
like,
Sombra.
If
Not of you, Bob. You're
everybody
great.
wanted to go back for seconds.
Ya estoy lista para ese trago, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. You're on opposite sides of the room. The final door is visible over the top of a bunch of cubicles. You're ready to run for it when a phone in one of the cubicles rings. You both roll your eyes and ignore it, trying to look cool and keep watch for any alerted security. No one comes. Then the phone rings again and again, and it keeps ringing. Thunder crashes overhead. It's the call of the lightning round!
Surge protector!
I'm fine.
You both crowd around the phone and pick it up.
At the same time?
Yeah, you both crowd around it, like you do. Like whenever you're only had one phone in the house.
So,
or
like,
something.
we're holding the... Yeah, okay, cool. That makes sense.
Or whenever you didn't want to go to the other room, but you did want to hear what was happening on the phone. Ask
Sorry,
your
it's been
parents
so
about
long
it.
that I forgot what non-personal phones were
Speaking of
functioned like.
alienating our younger listeners.
Phones used to be these things that were shaped like a banana that had a cord.
A voice on the other end says, Mark? Mark, is that you? Mark, it's me, Ma. You know, I wouldn't normally call you at work like this, but I need your help. I bought a laptop and I'm ready to internet. I just need you to set it all up. Mark's not here right now. Oh, are you friends of Mark's? Could you help me? I've got brownies in the oven right now, and I have ice cream in the freezer. Show me, Ma, how the internet works, and you can have all the brownie a la mode you could eat. So, advocates, to grandmother's house you go.
Oh, yes. Abuela! Let's get the brownies!
Obasan.
Can you get an elderly person onto the information superhighway?
Oh, no.
First things first, what cute or hilarious name are you giving her wireless network? How are you helping her to remember her password? What social media accounts are you signing Grandma up for? And then what cool internet phenomenon are you going to get Mima hooked on? As always, whoever went first in the original round goes last in the lightning round, and the person who went last in the original round goes first in the lightning round. So, it will be Team Sombra up first.
All right, so first of all, I think she's going to see that the grandma is having some issues using a keyboard. So she's going to build her a custom computer interface similar to the Sombra's thing that she does with her little wiggly fingers. Grandma can completely control her computer using her knitting needles.
Oh.
I wish I knew the word for knitting in Spanish. I was going to say, iniciando el knitting. I don't know.
I'm a big fan of Spanglish.
For the Wi-Fi name, ¿por qué fi?
Porque fi. Oh, terrible.
Oh.
That was such a good, sad reaction. I love it.
Not quite a laugh, per se.
How are we going to help her remember her password? Well, we were like, maybe we can make it the name of something really old that like no one else remembers, so no one can hack it. How about the president who started the Mexican-American War, James K. Polk? Because Sombra is super passive-aggressive.
Oh my god!
I was also thinking that her password to help Grandma out, it's going to be Alan Ludden, which is the host of the 60s TV game show Password. So whenever she sees password, she'll say, "Oh, password, Alan Ludden," and like, yeah.
Oh my
I think that might be a little bit easier of a neuro connection to make.
No, no one remembers that show. No one remembers that
War.
show. It's from the 60s. It's like the future. Who cares? In terms of social media platforms, I think she's going to set her up on Ravelry, which is a knitting and crocheting social media website. And she's also going to help her set up an Etsy store.
Aww.
Yeah, and if she's like really pissing Sombra off, maybe she'll get her a LinkedIn so she gets nonstop emails and she can't turn that shit off. Fuck you, LinkedIn.
God.
She's probably going to stitch Sombra like a little hat, like a knit hat afterwards, to cover the sides of her head that are shaved, because she's like, you're going to get so cold.
Yeah, she's going to ask Sombra why she doesn't go to church enough and why'd she shave the side of her head. Is she still in that gang? Anyway, nag. Yeah. So what internet phenomenon are we going to get her in? I think when you have old people, you got to consider their needs. So, gotta get her into memes, because the fonts are really big, easy to read, but, we're gonna have to make her some memes and get, like, a forum started to make other memes for, about, 40s and 50s stuff.
Only 40s kids remember this.
Oh my god!
Memes that shit on millennials and marijuana.
I briefly considered that we would set her up with a FetLife, but I thought that might be a little too racy.
Oh my god. You know what? Who knows? I don't know what Abuelita's into. I mean, she's got those knitting needles.
Oh.
That could get crazy.
And we are moving along before this mental
All right.
image can settle in.
Okay. Team Hero, tell me about your plans for Mima.
So my initial idea was that in the spirit of his own name, Hiro would help Mima name her network Wireless. But I like Dan's idea of naming it the Diamond Age.
Yeah,
Because like not only is it another Stevenson book, but it's like, you know, one of those things that indicates like anniversaries and stuff. You know, it's like the Diamond anniversary.
Yeah,
Right.
like isn't a diamond anniversary supposed to be like your 60th anniversary or something?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm sure she's getting close to celebrating her 60th wedding anniversary, even though her husband may no longer be with us. Peepums.
She also,
Oh
also
my
had to
God.
talk Hiro out of just naming her password because that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he came up with another method though, just in case she ends up forgetting her password. He actually just got one of his friends from the mafia to hang around her house at all times and just sort of sit in her kitchen. And if ever she forgets, he will tell her because he remembers. Although Miles has an alternative idea for how
Well,
this is
I
gonna
like
work.
your idea, Dan, but the thing is, like, that's what she was told the mafia guy is there for. In reality, if she takes too long putting in her password, the mafia guy shoots her.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my god.
Oh my lord!
that's kind of how the
So-
mafia runs things in Snow
Yeah.
Crash. So
I
So,
thought
like,
I was
there's some
cool
fucking
with
incentive
LinkedIn.
right there.
That's not canon. I just want everybody at home to know that's not canon.
but it's okay. She does remember her password, and she uses it to log into Second Life quite a bit.
Oh, damn it,
which,
Dan, you beat me to it. I was going to say, it's okay that she dies. She has a second life.
there you go.
God.
But Hiro obviously helped program the metaverse. He's one of the undisputed masters of it. And when you get right down to it, like, Claire, you kind of brought this up. The metaverse is basically just Second Life. And so one of the things that they talk about in Snow Crash is that, you know, your new timers going into the metaverse have like off-the-shelf avatars. The ones that have a little bit of programming experience make themselves look like, you know, dragons or giant penises or whatever. But like the hackers that have a lot of experience just go for making their avatars look as realistic as possible. And so in the polygonal nightmare-scape that is Second Life, there is one photorealistic grandma walking around who has a black pyramid, which is impenetrable to any other user, and she immediately becomes the biggest celebrity in the entire game.
Okay, Grandma better have a motorcycle.
Oh,
Hiro-
obviously.
Hiro also was able to make his own, like, metaverse avatar invisible and be able to walk through walls and shit, so, like, yeah, he's gonna trick her out. Also, Mima's Twitter handle is @the8th Eve.
What's that?
Because Stevenson has a book called Seven Eves. Never mind. That's,
Oh, okay.
that's some science fiction humor for you.
I get it. Okay, now I'm on board.
Who's Stevenson?
Cool internet stuff. I figured, you know, she probably reads a lot of Stevenson, you know, because she should.
Because that's convenient for the narrative that we're setting
Yeah.
up.
No, she's a cool Mima.
So she's read the Cryptonomicon, which leads her to the Necronomicon, which leads her to Evil Dead memes.
Yep.
So she, like, goes around going, like, all right, who wants some? And it's really annoying because, like, she's trying to be cool.
Oh my god.
She did non-ironically refer to them as boomsticks before, though, so she
Yeah,
just kind of
that's true.
slides right in. I think Hiro probably teaches her how to use IMDb so that she can look into which of her favorite actors are dead.
Turns out all of them.
Yeah, it turns out
Oh my
all of
God.
them. Wonder if that nice Humphrey Bogart is dead. Yep, yeah, he is.
He'll program Bogart into her Siri or, like, Cary Grant or something.
Yeah, maybe a dancing Gene Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
definitely puts in a pizza ordering button on her desktop, so anytime she doesn't feel like cooking or doesn't feel like going out to get food, it's there at the click of a button and will be there in 30 minutes or less, or the results will be fatal, and a very nice Italian man will land a helicopter in her backyard and take her on a trip to Italy in apology.
That's right. And then kindly ask her how long it took her to put in her password.
Yes.
Tira also is going to hook her up with the librarian, so she can just, like, instantly parse data by actually talking to somebody instead of having to look it up. And, and that's right. Dan said she refers to him as that nice young man.
Oh my god, she does!
And then my last idea was that Hiro got her into the katanas are underpowered in D20 Modern meme, which is one of my personal favorites.
Oh my god. Man,
So there you
guys
go.
You guys are really helping Mima, like, come into the whatever century. Good job, guys. You did a good thing.
Come into the mafia.
Certainly obscure role-playing game memes are,
and some
the way
Neil
to go.
Stephenson references.
Yeah.
You know, there's old people who play D&D. I want to, you know what? That's what I want. All memas. Oh my God, a bunch of old lesbians. This is what I want. Go make it, everybody.
So basically,
All right.
lesbian golden girls playing D&D.
Yes. All right, I'm going to go think about all of this stuff.
I think that's enough for a win.
You could have just said Golden Girls. No, just
Forget, right? Forget this match. I'm going to go build that podcast and I'll come back later. Bye.
All right, have fun.
She's gonna go find old people and make them do a podcast.
You there, what are your feelings on dice?
God, she has to re-explain the entire concept of a podcast before every single recording.
To say nothing of teaching them D&D.
This was a good match, y'all.
Yeah.
This is a good
That
one.
was
I
fun.
had fun
Yeah.
with this one. Claire, you had thoughts about Snow Crash,
I just wanted to
believe.
talk about it in general. Had either of you read it before or no?
I had, yeah. Dan read it for the first time.
Yeah, I read it like a few years ago, but I reread it for this. So what did you guys think of it?
It was a lot weirder than I thought it was
It's
going to be.
bizarre.
Like,
It's both comedic, and then it also has like the mythological stuff. It's like not just like a straight cyberpunk thing. It's really strange,
The Sumerian language mystery is my favorite thing about it.
Yeah.
The very idea of that is super fucking cool, and like this book gets thought of a lot more as like one of the sort of futurist, like predictive novels of the late 80s and early 90s, which it deserves credit for, because like Dan and I were talking about it and he was like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was written 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But for me, my favorite thing about it is the language stuff, because I'm just like, that gets me going.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be as like tongue-in-cheek as it was.
Oh, yeah.
Where, I don't know, I guess I just expected it to take itself more seriously than it did. And that was a little surprising, but also it was kind of like a pleasant surprise. I was like, oh, okay, this book is actually like having fun with the cyberpunk genre.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of like leaning into a lot of the tropes in an unconventional and fun way.
One thing I had forgotten about the book since I first read it was that YT is supposed to be 15.
Oh, yeah.
And,
there's that.
Yeah, everything that happens with her in this book is pretty problematic.
Wait, what? I didn't read this book. What kind of nasty shit they doing?
Oh, it's just people are...
It's mainly people like oogling her and stuff like that, and like talking about her in a sexualized way. Ordinarily, she's like a fairly empowered kind of badass character and kind of owns it most of the time.
But like...
There's a couple like problematic things and whatever. Like the book is sort of like imperfectly progressive. It has its moments, but then it also kind of messes up at times. But yeah, it tries usually.
And
When was it written?
92.
92.
Oh, okay.
Juanita is also like barely there and like really only there to be like a love interest / trophy.
I think that's underselling her. She's shown to be exceptionally intelligent and competent, and the one who actually like knows about stuff before Hiro does. But at the same time, she just doesn't have a lot of pages.
She's not there,
she's just not in
yeah.
it that much.
There was a quote I like in it, which they say, it was, of course, nothing more than sexism, the especially virulent type espoused by male techies who sincerely believe that they are too smart to be sexists.
Yeah.
I
Which,
love that
like,
quote.
it has its moments. I'm like, oh, that's a really cool, like, line, you know, so, but, like, whatever.
Well, and Stevenson, especially his more recent stuff, is like tremendously like super cool feminist stuff.
Yeah.
Like Seven Eves is tremendous in that regard. But yeah, this was his early work, and it was still the 90s, you know?
It was the 90s. I saw an article about how people rewatching Friends are like horrified by the jokes in it.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't hold up anymore.
But that's good,
Yeah.
right? It means we're getting better at stuff.
I mean, it is good. Hopefully, culture typically slowly becomes more and more woke.
Kit, did you have anything you wanted to talk about in terms of Overwatch?
Isn't Sombra just so
She's
great?
so great.
She's awesome. She's real great.
She's such a great character because it's like she's not a good guy. I was talking to Dan about her, and she's like, she is the definition of chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
She's just in it for herself, and she's willing to do whatever.
I would argue that, like, Sombra's biggest plot involves her trying to look into this conspiracy, and she's, like, really trying to get to the bottom of this. And one of the most interesting conversations that I had with Kit about it was, I asked Kit, like, what do you think Sombra is after in her pursuit of the conspiracy? And Kit was at first saying, she's just sort of like hungry for knowledge and just like, can't stand that there's like something out there that she doesn't know. But then I said, but what do you think she'll do once she gets to the bottom of it? Like, is she going to try to destroy it? Is she going to try to join them? Is she going to try to blackmail them or like take them over? And she was just like, I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
It honestly depends, right? It depends what this secret shadowy thing is.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like taken down Lumerico, which is just like, it was a shit corporation. It was stealing money from the people of Mexico. But, her motives are kind of whatever she wants them to be at the moment. And I like that she's this very loner type woman. You don't really see her. To be fair, no one is like officially shipped in the game except maybe Genji and Mercy. They might be an official kind of.
Oh boy, if we want to talk about Overwatch shipping, we will be here all night.
Well, I mean, most of them don't have anything behind them. So
Snowball and Ganymede.
Snowball.
That's just off the dome.
Oh, I like Orisa and Bastion if there has to be robot loves.
Well, Ganymede's a burb, so.
Yeah, I know, but like maybe Bastion and Ganymede. Maybe let's talk about this forbidden robot bird love.
All right, well, so Claire, given that you are the other regular Overwatch player on this, aside from Kit, do you have a ship that you call your own in that game?
No, my only like tinfoil hat Overwatch theories are just my unshakable belief that Moira is transgender. They have not said it,
yes.
but it's so obvious, I think. I think if they don't do it, I'm going to be so upset. There's all these things in her, like a lot of biological tells in like her sort of facial structure and her body structure and stuff like that. And the way that they've talked about her gender when people have come up and asked, they've gotten like kind of weirdly like non-committal about it, and in a way that I don't think they would if they were not planning to do that reveal at some point. So that's my only like pet theory about stuff.
Are we still talking about Overwatch?
Yeah, a little bit.
So my favorite ship is Hanzo and McCree. Let me tell you all about it. Actually, Miles, I can send you all the fan art. I
had to step away for a second. I was hoping that maybe by the time we got back we'd be done.
I heard shipping. Okay, I came to a decision. I am going to give it to Hiro. I know I'm going to... Kit will kill me in my sleep. I will never...
Or possibly me.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Okay, look. I think Sombra is a lot better at almost all of the stuff. However, Hiro has the ability to avoid it because he has those goggles and can then scope out everything and stay away. Because obviously Sombra, I think, presents a much greater threat. But he has an ability to avoid it that she has less of because she cannot see everything that's happening all the time in the way that he can.
Man.
All right.
Excellently done, Team Sombra.
I'm
you guys
angry.
are
not what I was expecting.
And I resent all of you now for making me do this.
Me ganaste en curva.
Yeah.
No, I'm so...
Time for the Kit. Gracias? I don't know. I don't know. Thank you to, first of all, Hayden, who made a Discord group for
Yes.
Smash
Oh,
Fiction
yeah.
folks.
Is that Hayden's current Twitter name? Hayden, who made a Discord group?
Yes, it should be. If you want to get that link, you can find it on his Twitter, which I think we retweeted that. So just go look at our Twitter. And if you're part of the Smash Fiction fan faction, why did we do this?
Every time you say that name, I'm more convinced that we made the right decision.
Yeah, if you have trouble finding the link to the Discord group, just hit one of us up, or hit up Smash Fiction or whatever. Yeah. Don't be shy. We'll more than happily set you up with it.
Over to Twitter. Thank you to Sean Boyd, Robert Ramsey, David Capoon. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, please at me.
That name sounds like a gun sound. It's like Capoon, Capoon.
Yeah.
Thank you to Crinch, the Politipop Podcast, Matias Tatimes, Jake the Fake God of Mischief, Hayden Whom Time Forgot, Neil Butler, Rafael Medina, JD Ketch, and Florian.
Matias Tatimes is hanging out in my living room with Sharon right now if you want me to just thank him in person.
Yeah, tell him. Just stick your head out. Stick your head out right now and say, Kit just thanked you.
All right, I will.
Over to Tumblr, thank you to Changing Shades, Creepy David Bowie, Sid Rabbit Vlog, and Jeep Rhyme. And on Facebook, thank you to Daniel Kidder, Matias Tatimes again. Say thank you to him, Miles.
All right, fine, hold on. Doing it. Matias. Yeah. Kit wants you to know that she has officially thanked you on this episode.
Okay.
So she just said it, so it's happening, but you're here, so she says thanks.
You're welcome, Kit.
Yay! Thanks in real time.
I don't know, you retweeted it.
Thanks live.
That was our first Kit. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It would be Matias who made history.
All right, fine. You happy?
Yes, I'm very happy. Thank you to Tom Groh and David Waters. And finally, if you are into side host business, the stuff that was originally edited out of my appearance on The Math of You, Lucas Brown put that little bit up, so if you want to hear us talk even more about aminals and briefly about Bob's punishment closet, then tune into the Math Review. You'll see I have my little bonus thing is there.
Oh, if we're on Plug Corner, I should say that part 2 of my conversation with Jeff Richardson on his podcast, Everything is Awesome, is also up right now. So,
Is it basically just you saying, no, it isn't?
oh, I get it. No. I mean, yes, but no. It's a very nice conversation that we had. That he's got it's a 2-part episode that we recorded. Jeff's a fan of ours, and Everything is Awesome is great. And actually, if you want to hear me talk not in character, then that's a great place to go listen to it.
Well, I'm going to swing this thing back around from Plug Corner momentarily and back into Thanks Corner and say thank you to Abstract God Trash, who is our uniquely named patron who was featured in this particular episode, and they received this coveted position as kind of playing both sides hacker.
A shit stirrer, but like a fun one.
Because they donate to us on Patreon and get to enjoy that and many other benefits of being one of our patrons.
Thanks, AGT.
And also, I wanted to bring up the fact that we have another new iTunes review.
Yeah.
So this review is titled Just Switch to iPhone. It is a 5-star review, and it comes to us from FatBlunt69.
FatBlunt69!
Sorry.
And the review goes, this had to be the first podcast I rated and reviewed after switching to iPhone because it's a consistent delight in all its forms. Aww. The regular matches answer the age-old schoolyard questions of who would win in an appropriately themed competition of 2 or more fictional characters. Their actual play RPG series pits some of those same characters against the forces of evil in a continuing universe-hopping saga. And their new series, Surprise Party and Collaboratory, are more of the same great content that I've come to expect. Well, thank you, FatBlunt69, and we have some more of that sweet, sweet new content coming down the pipe in probably just a few weeks, so stay tuned for that.
Can I just say that our fans are consistently better at describing our show than we are?
Oh, for real.
When we need to come up with a new tagline, let's just look through the reviews.
Please, write our copy. We're so bad.
When I've been guests on other podcasts, they're like, tell us about your thing. I'm like, oh, we like talk about stuff, and it's...
I mean, the fact that I'm so bad at plugging our show and everything else that I do is a running joke on Unspoiled now.
I've heard it, sir. It is consistently hilarious.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Smash Fiction. We hope you enjoyed it. Next week is Extraordinary League 28, and after that, Crowley from Supernatural versus Crowley from Good Omens.
Smash Fiction is produced by Miles Schneiderman and production assistant Sharon Schneiderman, with logo design by Claire Mulcairn.
Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod at Incompetech.com for our theme song, Hitman.
You can find us on Twitter at SmashFic Podcast and search for the Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice, and if you leave us a good review, we shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Smash Fiction is made possible thanks to our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. Please consider donating as little as $1 each month. It helps us keep the show going, and we have great rewards and extra content for those who help us out.
If you have any suggestions, feedback, or other contributions, send them to us at smashfictionpodcast@gmail.com and help us continue the fight.
Now she's 30. Whoop whoop, just got there. Sombra's just like, okay, sorry. I really appreciate it.
Yay, happy birthday, kid.
Yeah. Happy birthday, kid.
Yeah, Sombra's had governments. What have you done with your life, Kit?
I have a job I like.
You know what?
You work with aminals. That's fair.
We're all
do work with
millennials. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes we can afford to have a nice lunch somewhere. So there. Take that, world.
I can sometimes afford an avocado.
or toast, but not both at the same time.
Not both.
I mean, God, we're not the 1%. We're not there yet.
You know, I sometimes wish that we did what other podcasts do and come up with names for the episodes out of quotes from it.
Yes.
If we did that, then the name of this episode would be I Can Sometimes Afford an Avocado.
The leaderboard that says Hiro's the greatest sword fighter in the world is in his own club, which is an exclusive club that a lot of people can't get into. That is all.
Claire, the club is his because he built the internet. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, Al Gore, congratulations.
Is this like he blew up the moon? Is this the
He built the internet.
He built the internet.
And look what you did.